In this video we'll be concerned with quality and looking at the relationship between quality, TQM, total quality management, and issues in human resource management as well, looking at the connection between the two. So that's our remit in this video. Now there's growing research, or a considerable amount of research at least, that seems to indicate that TQM, total quality management, has not achieved its objectives due to problems in HRM. So the problems of managing people, training people, and getting people to, in a sense, buy in to the concept and practice of total quality management seems to have been a problem which has inhibited the wide-scale introduction and use of total quality management techniques. So if we're looking for a reason why TQM has not been widely adopted, it could rest at the feet of human resource management. Failures occurred when management falls short in their efforts to adopt a corporate culture fully embracing total quality management. Sometimes corporate culture may be at variance with corporate objectives. The culture of the organization, which may be a traditional culture, one that's emerged over many years, and therefore it's difficult to change. The employees have a certain way of working. It's been ingrained almost over the years into them about the processes and what is the correct methods. So to change that would mean a considerable change in the organization and in the organization's approach to employee management. It would also entail considerable amounts of training and retraining and perhaps moving personnel around, which may alienate some and lead to disputes. So it's a complex issue, but it may be the case that wide-scale adoption of TQM has fallen short because of issues amongst the workforce and issues around the ability of the human resource department to effectively implement the policy. So what makes TQM a HR problem? Well, total quality management requires employee development and employee cooperation. Without these, it will not happen. The employees must be developed, they must be trained, they must be shown how it's put into practice. They must show the importance of quality and why they should be involved in quality processes. It's clearly in their long-term interest that the business should survive. The business needs to compete in ever-increasingly competitive situations, particularly with the advent of globalization. And the employees should understand, therefore, the importance of quality and understand that they need to cooperate in the adoption of this and also participate fully and openly in development programs which are needed to not just demonstrate the advantages of TQM, but how TQM can be delivered in practice within the organization. So the top management is to provide workers, the task of the top management is to provide workers with the necessary skills and knowledge. The top management must create the climate within which TQM can develop, and part of that is to ensure that the skills and knowledge, the competencies, the approaches that the workers adopt facilitate the introduction and use of TQM techniques. And they must create a quality-minded culture amongst the employees. The employees must move away from quantity as a measure of output, to quality. because as consumers and as buyers become more sophisticated and knowledgeable, and, and also the world becomes increasingly competitive, it's quality that is going to mark off the successful to the less successful. So the culture within the organization should be a quality culture. It should be one which emphasizes the importance of every single process and the importance of every single process in terms of quality outcome and quality routines within the organization. So everyone within the organization becomes involved in the quality assurance program. Everyone is involved in quality checking, monitoring, watching, testing and reporting. So it's a corporate wide program that's required. A quality culture that nurtures high trust relationships. It's important that employees feel free to speak about quality issues, and there is no adverse comeback on the employee, no problems with fellow employees who feel that they're reporting bad workmanship or bad quality from a particular section. It should be based on trust, and it should be widespread understanding of the need for this. And if there is a failure in one section, then the section should be made aware of the failure and take remedial measures, not to blame the person reporting it or to look for excuses. So it's important that the quality culture nurtures high trust relationships, high trust between all the members of staff and high trust between the staff and the management. And there is a shared sense of commitment. Everyone is in it together. Everyone needs to get it right. And this involves everyone within the organization, not just the management, not just the line management, but all of the management within the organization who should subscribe to the ideals of getting quality right throughout the organization and understand that with quality programs there's going to be less rejects, less failures, less time wasted, less idle time for machinery, and less wasted raw materials and less wasted time and resources. So it's in everyone's interest to get it right first time and make sure that the quality is of a good standard. The quality culture believes that continuous improvement is for the common good. If the organization makes continual improvement and the feedback from customers is positive and supportive, so that there are repeated orders placed by customers and there are good feedbacks coming from the customer relations management team and the marketing team, then it's likely that the organization will not just succeed, but it will grow. And that means a better prosperity for all involved. And the management should ensure that some of the premium or some of the bonuses that result in extra sales and their ability to more effectively compete, that is in a sense shared out a bit more fully, because everyone is taking responsibility for the better product that's led to the improved situation. Now, establishing a quality-minded culture, well, formation of quality-minded culture is a human interaction issue. It's understanding the importance of quality and the ability of staff and management to interact freely and speak openly about issues associated with processes and work and jobs and specifications and designs and tolerances, and it's important that everyone understands the metrics and what's going to be measured and how it's going to be measured, and seeing that it's fair. So a quality-minded culture is one that freely and openly speaks and is listened to, and providing they are focused on improvements in quality, then that is all that matters. Their comments may be irrelevant or maybe misplaced, but at least they're focusing on quality. And with redirection and further discussion, a reorientation can be brought about, which is very productive for the organization in terms of the quality and the perceptions of the product by the customer. So therefore, quality management systems must provide channels of communication for product quality information amongst all concerned employees. There must be good channels of communication. Workers on the line should be able to speak to line managers. Line managers should be able to speak to departmental managers and divisional managers and up to director levels. And there should be a feeling that a person on the line who has an idea about some way of improving quality should be able to speak to anyone in the organization. If it's a good idea, it's a good idea. It improves quality, it improves the reputation of the business, it more secures the business, it enables the business to more effectively compete. It's a good idea. So there should be channels of communication, channels of that will take suggestions for good practice and enable them to be scrutinized and implemented. So the channels can be all sorts. It could be suggestion boxes, it could be postings on an intranet, it could be emails to a particular member of staff who's responsible for collecting the ideas, or it could be postings on an intranet. It can come in a variety of forms. It could be that there are quality circles where employees are invited in to discuss quality issues and ideas come through there. And when ideas are deemed to be good ideas and acceptable ideas and ones worth looking carefully at and perhaps implementing, the people who suggested these improvements should be recognized, and they should be congratulated and thanked for their contribution, because what they've done is they have further secured the presence of the organization in that particular market. Quality management must provide means of participation for employees, so employees feel they're a part of the system. It's a very inclusive way of working, and all the employees should feel that they're working within the organization and they are a part of the organization. They should feel every bit as a part of the organization as senior management, and their contribution should be valued and recognized by everyone. So employees should feel a part of the system. They should not feel that they are simply there to get a wage at the end of the week or a salary at the end of the month. They should be there because they enjoy their work, they're involved, they're recognized, they're respected for what they do, and they're getting a good salary, hopefully, but at the same time their suggestions are not dismissed. Their suggestions can bring about changes. Now, some HR challenges. Well, is the company culture a subset of national culture? So what is the national culture? I mean, what does the overwhelming number of industrialists or business people think or do? And what's the prevailing ideas about culture? If culture is seldom spoken of, or if it doesn't get a lot of publicity, then perhaps it's not seen as that important, and therefore companies may be unlikely to adopt it or to give it the same importance as perhaps it requires. So there's a need for a wider than company debate and discussion of the importance of quality. Should total quality management be linked to monetary incentives? Should workers be paid for their contribution in total quality management, or should it be expected? If people are employed by a company, should they not work to produce good quality output anyway? Surely they don't go to work to produce bad workmanship, to poor quality output. So there is a debate. Is this to be expected anyway? Or should there be additional incentives for people to promote and develop quality within the workplace? There are all sorts of intermediate positions we could take on this one. For example, if someone works hard on developing an idea, and the idea proves to be very successful and improves the quality of the output of the organization, at least that person should be recognized. It should be clapped on the back and thanked. That's the very minimum. But giving them some monetary reward may be appropriate, because they've worked hard and thought hard about the problem, and they've gone over and above what was expected of them. So, I mean, it's a debatable point. Should companies give extra monetary incentives? But some people say yes, and perhaps others would say no. But I think it depends on the scale of the contribution. Now, do workers want to be involved in the quality management process? That's a problem. Perhaps some workers just want to go in and get the day over and done with and go home. And they don't want to be pulled in to dealing with issues associated with the company. They don't feel that linked to the company. They're there to get a wage, to support their families and have a life. They don't want to be involved with the organization. If that's the case, then their workmanship is likely to be tolerable, let's say, but not excellent. And they won't go the extra bit if so required. So, do workers want to be involved in the quality management process? It's a big question. Do some want to have an input? Do some people want to have an input? Do people enjoy the challenge of trying to make improvements and make recommendations, or do they see any changes that are proposed as just extra burdens for them to learn new techniques, to learn new ways of working because someone had a good idea about improving quality? Or maybe it would be better for them if it just carried on as it was. They just do their number of hours every day and get a wage at the end of the week, and that keeps them happy. Well, it depends on how involved the workers are and what incentives and what motivation is involved in the workplace. It depends on the capacity of the HR department to embrace the workforce in the sense of getting them involved, getting them enthusiastic and getting them interested in their work. Perhaps the HR department is seen as too aloof, too remote. It doesn't get involved. It merely recruits people and sees that their health and safety is acceptable, and perhaps has the occasional training scheme. But maybe the HR department should be more involved in the motivation of the workers on a continuous basis to get them involved so that they will embrace quality in the organization. Many others may not want any increased responsibility. So even after, let's say, the HR department puts in place extra training and deals with motivation and deals with issues of engagement, there may be still some who simply just want to go to work and do what they're told and go home at the end. They don't want increased responsibility. They don't want to be involved. They just want to do enough to keep their work, and that's sufficient for them. Now, as to whether the organisation can cope with that is a matter really for organisation to organisation to decide. Some may feel that's acceptable because some parts of the work process, that's all is required, is minimal engagement, just enough to get the work done. But other organisations, making perhaps different products or operating in different markets, may be more intense and may require the workforce to really look at their processes to try and improve the quality of the workmanship, to try and cut costs, to try to be more involved, more enthusiastic, more interested, and to want that more vibrant type of organisation. So there are issues. Now, improving quality improvement teams, and this is organising for quality. Well, quality improvement teams, first of all, the roles of quality improvement teams. In addition to solving quality problems, the quality improvement teams help provide a means of participation for employees in quality decision making. So quality improvement teams, organising teams of workers, perhaps some off the line, some from the stores, some from distribution, from different parts, from manufacturing, from wherever, different parts of the organisation, some from the offices, from different departments of the office, getting the various workers involved in teams so that they're able to look at quality issues and make recommendations. Perhaps having regular meetings like quality circles, have regular meetings where they can discuss issues and debate the various issues, see if they're worthwhile making improvements and making changes. So quality improvement teams can help provide a means of participation for employees. The employees are more involved. They're doing their work, but are also involved in a team that's looking at issues related to quality or to overall production. The quality improvement team can aid employee development. It looks at leadership. Who is the apparent leader in a certain section? Who is more vocal and more outspoken, and who is it that the others turn to and talk to about issues? And who is the better problem-solving abilities? So it's looking to find out who are the key workers, because perhaps the key workers can be the drivers of quality within the individual sections. The quality improvement teams obviously should lead to better awareness of quality, which is essential for organisational cultural change. There needs to be a cultural change away from looking at perhaps doing enough to meet market demand, moving away from that to supplying the requisite quantities, but at ever increasing quality levels. So it's improving quality awareness, the importance of quality for the marketing team to be able to work effectively, to penetrate new markets, to take on international competition in the face of globalization and cheap imports, to build up the reputation of the business, to go for long-term sustainability of the business. So there are many issues associated with quality improvement teams that promote the whole idea of quality involvement, engagement, feedback to management, and the introduction of new processes, new ways of working, and ultimately an improvement in the reputation and status of the company within the market. So these are some ideas relating to the connection between quality and the adoption of quality within an organization and the role of the human resource department. And that's all we're going to deal with in this talk, so let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.